Imagine you're working on something important. You're focused, productive, and then, beep, buzz, ping. Your phone lights up with a notification. Before you know it, an hour has passed and you've gotten absolutely nothing done. Sound familiar? Welcome back to the channel, where today we're going to dive into a concept that could change the way you approach your time, your productivity, and your life. We're talking about how to stay focused like a Stoic. Time wasting stops here, my friends. What do ancient Stoic philosophers have to do with productivity in the modern world? You'd be surprised. Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy that teaches us how to master our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, our focus. If you've ever found yourself scrolling through social media, losing track of time, or struggling to stay on task, this video is for you. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll have some powerful tools, straight from the Stoic playbook, to help you conquer distractions, focus on what truly matters, and get more done in less time. So, let's get into it. The modern struggle with focus, navigating the age of distraction. The age of distraction. In today's fast-paced world, attention is a rare and precious commodity. We live in an age where distractions are not only ubiquitous, but increasingly insidious, undermining our ability to concentrate and engage with the present moment. According to recent studies, the average person checks their phone more than 300 times a day, an astonishing 100,000 times annually. This constant interaction with digital devices, while seemingly harmless, has profound consequences for our ability to focus. But it's not just our phones vying for our attention. Social media notifications, emails, TV shows, streaming platforms, and the ever-present demands of work and family all contribute to a chronic state of overstimulation. The digital world has created an environment where our brains are continuously bombarded with information, often in the form of fleeting, low-priority distractions. This endless cycle of stimulation fosters a culture of immediate gratification, where we're conditioned to shift our focus every few minutes. As a result, the concept of sustained, uninterrupted attention has become increasingly foreign to many people. We have become, in many ways, a generation that is unable to sit still with a single thought for more than a few seconds before moving on to the next impulse. The cost of task switching. One of the key culprits in this modern battle for attention is task switching. In a world where multitasking is often celebrated as a sign of productivity, we are encouraged to jump between various tasks, often in rapid succession. Whether it's responding to an email while working on a report, scrolling through social media during a meeting, or checking a message while watching a movie, we have been conditioned to juggle multiple demands at once. But here's the paradox: while task switching might feel productive, it actually impairs our efficiency and diminishes the quality of our work. Research has shown that constantly switching between tasks can reduce efficiency by as much as 40%. This is because the brain takes time to refocus each time we transition between activities, a process known as cognitive switching cost. The mental energy spent on these transitions, rather than the tasks themselves, results in a significant loss of time and mental clarity. Moreover, task switching fragments our attention in such a way that we rarely achieve the deep, sustained focus required for meaningful work. As we bounce from one thing to another, we may fool ourselves into believing we're getting more done, but the reality is that we're spreading ourselves thin and sacrificing the depth of engagement necessary for high-quality outcomes. The digital paradox: more choices, less control. In theory, technology was supposed to free us, offering more choices and enabling greater flexibility. Yet, the explosion of options has created a paradox. While we have more tools at our disposal than ever before, we often feel more scattered and less in control of our time. For instance, social media platforms are designed to capture our attention at every moment. Their algorithms constantly push content that is tailored to our interests, but this constant stream of personalized distractions makes it nearly impossible to focus for extended periods. The same holds true for the proliferation of notifications, be it on our phones, our email inboxes, or our computers, each one pulling us out of the task at hand, fragmenting our attention even further. In addition, the modern work environment often encourages a constant cycle of productivity and busyness. We may feel obligated to respond immediately to emails, attend countless meetings, or be always available on multiple communication channels. This constant engagement with the outside world creates an illusion of productivity, but in truth, it only deepens our inability to concentrate on what truly matters. Breaking free from distraction, finding focus. So, how do we break free from this cycle of distraction? How do we reclaim our focus, stop wasting time on the trivial, and start dedicating our energy to what truly matters? The answer may lie in ancient wisdom, specifically, in the philosophy of Stoicism. Stoicism, an ancient Greek and Roman philosophy, emphasizes the importance of focusing on what we can control and accepting what we cannot. Central to Stoic thought is the idea that external events and distractions should not govern our emotional state or our capacity for concentration. The Stoics taught that the key to a meaningful life is not in being swept away by the chaos of the world, but in cultivating inner peace and focused intention. The Stoic approach to focus. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the distinction between what is in our control and what is not. Modern distractions, phones, emails, social media, are largely outside our control. What is in our control, however, is how we respond to these distractions and whether we choose to engage with them mindfully or resist them. The Stoics believe that we have the power to direct our attention wherever we choose, and it's through deliberate focus that we can live virtuously and productively. 1. Practice mindful awareness. The Stoics were keenly aware of the need to cultivate mindfulness in the face of external distractions. By practicing mindfulness, we can develop the ability to recognize when our attention is drifting, and gently guide it back to the task at hand. This requires a deep sense of self-awareness and discipline, qualities that the Stoics sought to develop through daily practices such as meditation, journaling, and self-reflection. 2. Embrace single-tasking. One of the Stoic principles that aligns with modern productivity strategies is the importance of single-tasking. Rather than flitting between tasks, the Stoics advocated for focusing all of one's energy on a single endeavor at a time. By embracing single-tasking, we allow ourselves to engage fully with the present moment, giving our best effort to whatever task is before us. 3. Control what you can. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our control. In the digital age, this means taking conscious control of our environment. We can turn off unnecessary notifications, schedule specific times for checking email and social media, and create spaces for focused, uninterrupted work. By removing the constant influx of distractions, we allow ourselves the mental space to concentrate on the tasks that truly matter. 4. Accept the things you cannot control. In a world filled with endless distractions, we will inevitably encounter moments where our attention is diverted. Instead of resisting these interruptions or becoming frustrated, the Stoic approach is to accept them without judgment. This doesn't mean we give up on focusing, it means we approach distractions with equanimity, recognizing that they are a natural part of life. In doing so, we can return to our work without carrying the burden of frustration or guilt. The reward of focused living. In an age of constant distraction, the ability to focus is not just a productivity hack, it's a moral choice. A choice to invest our time and energy in what truly matters, to pursue excellence in our work, and to build meaningful relationships. Focus is the foundation upon which we can build a life of purpose and clarity. The modern struggle with focus is not insurmountable. With the wisdom of Stoicism and a commitment to cultivating mindfulness, we can regain control over our attention and create space for what matters most. By focusing on the present moment and directing our efforts with intention, we can break free from the chains of distraction and lead more meaningful, fulfilling lives. The Stoic approach to focus. Mastering the dichotomy of control. The basics of Stoicism. Before we delve deeper into the Stoic approach to focus, it's important to understand what Stoicism is and why it remains incredibly relevant in our modern world. Stoicism is an ancient Greek philosophy that emerged around 300 BCE, founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens. Its central tenet revolves around the pursuit of a virtuous life, rooted in rationality, discipline, and self-control. Over the centuries, Stoic philosophy was developed further by thinkers such as Epictetus, Seneca, and the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. Despite its ancient origins, Stoicism continues to offer timeless wisdom for navigating the challenges of modern life, especially when it comes to managing our attention and focus in an age of constant distraction. At the heart of Stoic philosophy lies a fundamental question: how can we live a good life, regardless of our circumstances? The Stoics believe that true contentment and peace come not from controlling the external world but from mastering our internal world, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. This focus on personal agency, or what is in our power to change, is one of the most potent aspects of Stoicism. The dichotomy of control: focus on what you can control. One of the most powerful concepts in Stoic philosophy is the dichotomy of control. This principle divides the world into two categories: things we can control and things we cannot control. Understanding and applying this dichotomy is key to achieving a focused, peaceful, and productive life. Things you can control: according to the Stoics, the only things truly within your control are your own thoughts, actions, and reactions. This includes the choices you make in response to external events, your ability to exercise self-discipline, your capacity to focus, and your emotional responses to situations. Stoics would argue that we have the power to decide how we interpret events and how we let them affect us. Things you cannot control: on the other hand, the Stoics recognize that there are countless external factors beyond our control. These include the actions of other people, the weather, the state of the economy, or global events like wars and pandemics. No matter how much we worry or stress, these things remain out of our hands. By recognizing the difference between what we can and cannot control, we can redirect our energy away from futile concerns and focus only on what is within our sphere of influence. This shift in focus not only frees us from unnecessary anxiety, but it also enables us to cultivate a deep, unwavering focus on the things that truly matter. The illusion of control: why we worry about the uncontrollable. In the modern world, it's easy to fall into the trap of worrying about things outside of our control. We find ourselves obsessing over things like the state of the economy, political turmoil, or what others think of us. We might stress about future events that have not yet happened, or ruminate over past mistakes that can no longer be changed. In doing so, we waste an immense amount of mental and emotional energy. The Stoics would remind us that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. We spend much of our time catastrophizing or imagining worst-case scenarios that are unlikely to occur. This mental spiral not only distracts us from the present moment but also saps our energy and focus. In many cases, the thing we worry about never even materializes, making our anxiety a form of self-inflicted suffering. By practicing the dichotomy of control, we can break free from this cycle of worry. Instead of fixating on what's outside of our control, we can choose to focus on our reactions, actions, and how we engage with the world. Applying the dichotomy of control to focus and distraction. So, how does the dichotomy of control help us improve focus? The key is in recognizing that distractions, especially those related to technology, are often beyond our control. The constant notifications on our phones, the pressure to respond to every email or message immediately, or the pull of social media, all of these external forces are not in our hands. But how we respond to them is. You cannot control the phone notifications, but you can control how you respond to them. Will you let every ping take you away from your work? Or will you choose to ignore the distractions and stay focused on the task at hand? You cannot control the distractions in your environment, such as loud noises or interruptions from others. However, you can control how you react to them, whether you allow them to derail your concentration or whether you find a way to maintain focus despite them. You cannot control other people's actions, whether they choose to talk loudly in your workspace or demand your attention at inconvenient times. What you can control, however, is how you set boundaries and prioritize your own time and focus. When you apply the dichotomy of control, you recognize that the constant stream of distractions is a normal part of life. Rather than getting frustrated or overwhelmed by them, you focus on your response. You set intentional boundaries, create environments conducive to focus, and allow yourself to let go of things that are beyond your control. The power of self-mastery, controlling your reactions. A core Stoic practice is the mastery of self-discipline. This doesn't mean suppressing your desires or emotions in an unhealthy way, but rather exercising control over how you react to external events. The Stoics taught that our happiness is not determined by the circumstances around us, but by how we respond to those circumstances. By developing inner discipline, we can resist the pull of distractions and stay focused on our goals. Self-discipline is especially important in the age of digital distractions. Our phones, social media platforms, and emails are designed to pull us away from what we are doing and redirect our attention. The Stoic approach to focus involves actively choosing to stay in control of our attention and directing it to the task at hand. If a notification pops up, for example, it's not about suppressing the urge to check it, but recognizing that choosing to check it is a decision you have control over. Instead of reacting impulsively, you can choose to remain present in whatever you're doing, whether that's working on an important project, spending time with loved ones, or simply being at peace with yourself. Focus as an act of wisdom. The Stoic practice of focus is rooted in the belief that true wisdom comes from knowing what is within your control and acting accordingly. Wisdom in this context means knowing where to direct your attention and energy, toward the things that matter and away from those that don't. It's about making deliberate choices, being intentional in your actions, and refusing to be distracted by the noise of the world. In Stoic terms, focus is not just a skill but a virtue. It requires both courage, to ignore distractions, and temperance, to resist the pull of unnecessary stimuli. It's a commitment to what is meaningful and a refusal to be swept away by the trivial or fleeting. Practical steps for applying the dichotomy of control. Create boundaries. Set clear boundaries for when and how you engage with distractions like social media or work emails. For example, you might decide to check your email only during designated times rather than constantly throughout the day. Practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you become aware of your reactions to distractions. When a notification pops up, pause for a moment and decide whether it's worth engaging with. Over time, you'll develop the ability to resist distractions with greater ease. Focus on the process, not the outcome. Instead of obsessing over results or worrying about what's beyond your control, focus on doing your best in the present moment. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, do not waste time on what you cannot control, focus instead on how you can act with virtue and wisdom right now. Cultivate resilience. Distractions will always be part of life. What matters is how you respond to them. When you're interrupted, use it as an opportunity to practice resilience. Return to your focus with even more determination. The Stoic reward: deep, sustained focus. By applying the Stoic dichotomy of control, we not only reduce distractions, but we also cultivate a deeper, more sustained focus. This is the power of Stoic wisdom in the modern world. It helps us remain centered amidst the chaos, directing our energy toward what truly matters. In an age full of noise and distraction, this ability to focus is not just an advantage, it's a necessity for living a meaningful and productive life. In the end, the Stoic approach to focus is about reclaiming control over your attention, resisting the pull of distractions, and choosing how to engage with the world in a way that reflects your values. By focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you can create space for clarity, purpose, and a life of greater fulfillment. Key Stoic principles for staying focused. 1. The power of mindfulness and present moment awareness. One of the most powerful Stoic tools for staying focused is mindfulness, the practice of being fully aware and engaged in the present moment. The Stoics were, in many ways, pioneers of living in the now, understanding that true focus is only possible when we direct our attention away from the past and future and onto the present. In our modern world, distractions often arise when we allow our minds to wander into the past, ruminating over past mistakes or regrets, or into the future, anxiously anticipating what may happen or worrying about potential challenges. When we live in the past or future, we fail to engage with the present, which is the only time we truly have any control over. This is where mindfulness becomes a crucial tool for maintaining focus. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most well-known Stoic philosophers and Roman emperors, often stressed the importance of present-moment awareness. In his Meditations, he writes, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This statement is not only an exhortation to live virtuously but also a powerful call to action. Instead of debating and theorizing about how we should behave or what we should do, Marcus urges us to focus on the present and simply be what we aspire to be right now. It is an antidote to procrastination and indecision, the idea that action in the present moment is where real progress is made. This mindfulness principle in Stoicism is not about passively letting life unfold, but rather intentionally engaging with each moment, committing to what you're doing, and fully immersing yourself in the task at hand. Whether you are working, having a conversation, or simply breathing, true focus emerges when we stop letting our minds wander into what's already happened or what might happen. The Stoic mindfulness technique. To practice mindfulness in the Stoic sense, focus on what is within your control in the present. The Stoics taught that external events and outcomes are beyond our influence, but our responses to those events are entirely within our power. Therefore, when you find your attention drifting away from the present, remind yourself of this key Stoic insight. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This famous quote from Marcus Aurelius encourages us to refocus our attention on what we can control, our thoughts, attitudes, and reactions. When distractions arise, it's a reminder that our attention is a choice, and we can always return to the here and now. Mindfulness also helps us notice when we're getting distracted. Often, we don't realize how often we're pulled away from the present moment, whether by intrusive thoughts, worries, or external stimuli. With mindfulness, you start to notice these distractions earlier, giving you the chance to redirect your focus before they take hold. 2. Recognizing the power of choice in our reactions. Another central Stoic principle that supports mindfulness and focus is the recognition that we have control over our reactions, no matter what happens around us. In fact, one of the core ideas of Stoicism is that we cannot control the events of the world, but we can control how we respond to them. This understanding is key to staying focused in a world filled with distractions. Epictetus, another influential Stoic philosopher, often reminded his followers that we are not disturbed by events themselves but by our judgments and reactions to them. This principle, famously encapsulated in his quote, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," shows how we can actively choose our focus and emotional state, even in the face of distractions. In the context of modern distractions, whether it's a buzzing phone, a loud colleague, or an unexpected interruption, this Stoic idea invites us to take a step back and recognize that our response to these distractions is a choice. We can choose to let them derail us, or we can choose to stay focused on the task at hand. By accepting that external events are not inherently disruptive, we regain power over our attention. When distractions arise, the Stoic approach is to practice what Epictetus called inner freedom, the freedom to choose how to respond to life's events. Instead of letting external distractions hijack our focus, we exercise our autonomy by returning our attention to the present moment and to what we're choosing to work on. Practical application. When you feel the pull of a distraction, whether it's a notification, a fleeting thought, or a worry about something outside of your control, pause for a moment. Reflect on the Stoic principle that you have power over your reactions. Instead of automatically giving into the distraction, consciously decide to return your focus to the task at hand. This act of choosing how to react, and in doing so, redirecting your energy and attention, is where mindfulness and Stoic discipline intersect. 3. The discipline of focusing on what you can control. One of the most important Stoic teachings that aids in maintaining focus is the dichotomy of control, the recognition of what is within our power and what is not. The Stoics believed that we should direct our energy and attention exclusively toward what we can control, and let go of concerns over what lies beyond our influence. This is especially pertinent in a world of endless distractions. The dichotomy of control helps us focus on our actions, thoughts, and attitudes, the things we can change, rather than external events or other people, which we cannot control. This principle frees us from the anxiety that often arises from attempting to control the uncontrollable. In terms of focus, this means recognizing when your attention is being diverted to something outside of your control, such as a fleeting thought about the future or past, an intrusive opinion, or an irrelevant external event. The Stoic response is to bring the focus back to what you can control, your thoughts and actions in the present moment. When you understand the dichotomy of control, you no longer waste time worrying about things that don't matter or can't be changed. Instead, you focus your energy on the only thing that truly matters, your response to the world and the choices you make right now. The Stoic practice. In the face of distraction, remind yourself that the only thing you have control over is how you respond. If you're finding it difficult to focus because you're consumed with anxiety or a sense of urgency about the future, return to the Stoic principle of controlling your thoughts. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to be productive or present in this moment? Instead of obsessing over the outcome or worrying about the future, direct your focus back to the process. This practice is especially useful in moments of overwhelm. When the weight of external demands or future uncertainties feels paralyzing, the Stoics teach us to return to what is within our power, the next step, the next thought, the next action. By consistently practicing this, we train ourselves to ignore distractions and cultivate deep focus. 4. Cultivating inner peace through acceptance. A key Stoic practice that complements mindfulness and focus is the cultivation of inner peace through acceptance. The Stoics taught that peace of mind comes not from resisting life's challenges or trying to control everything around us, but from accepting what we cannot change and focusing our energy on responding with virtue and wisdom. This principle can be particularly helpful when it comes to staying focused amidst distractions. Rather than becoming frustrated by distractions or interruptions, Stoicism teaches us to accept them as part of life. By accepting the presence of distractions without judgment, we can return to our focus with greater equanimity and less resistance. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations that we should embrace challenges and interruptions as opportunities to practice virtue. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When distractions arise, instead of viewing them as obstacles to focus, we can see them as an opportunity to practice the Stoic virtues of patience, discipline, and resilience. By accepting that distractions are part of life, we free ourselves from the frustration that can disrupt our focus, allowing us to remain calm and return to the present moment with renewed determination. By integrating these key Stoic principles, mindfulness, the power of choice, the dichotomy of control, and acceptance, we can develop the mental clarity and focus necessary to navigate a world filled with distractions. The Stoics teach us that true focus is not a matter of forcing ourselves to stay on task, but rather of redirecting our energy toward what is within our control and embracing the present moment with full attention. In an age where distractions are constant, the Stoic approach offers a powerful antidote: live in the present, control your reactions, focus only on what you can control, and accept what you cannot. This path leads not only to greater productivity but also to a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment as you engage fully with each moment, undistracted by the noise of the world. 2. Embrace routine and discipline. A central Stoic principle for achieving focus and clarity is discipline, the practice of maintaining order and structure in our lives. The Stoics were known for their rigorous routines and consistent habits, which they believed were key to cultivating mental clarity, focus, and self-control. This is not about rigidly scheduling every minute of your day, but about creating frameworks and habits that free you from the chaos of daily decisions, allowing your mind to stay centered and focused on what truly matters. The power of structure: why the Stoics valued routine. The Stoics didn't leave their lives to chance. They understood that in a world full of distractions and external pressures, the path to true wisdom and productivity lies in intentionality, in deciding, ahead of time, how we will